Continue remembering our dear friend, our dear colleague, Todd Tongen. 4 billboards have now been put up across South Florida in his honor, courtesy of our advertising company, Outfront Media. You can find 2 of them on I-95 near Sterling Road and Hallandale Beach Boulevard. One's on I-75 where it meets the Palmetto, and the other one is on the Turnpike near Sample Road. We hope if you drive by them, you're going to think of Todd and the impact he's had on all of us. And as we continue to mourn the loss of Todd, who, again, is such a dear, dear friend to so many of us, we now know exactly what took his life.
And while each case of suicide is different, his weekend co-anchor Nikki Mohan tells us about some of the suicide warnings you can see.
Chef Anthony Bourdain, comedian Robin Williams, high-profile dermatologist Dr. Frederick Brandt, all men who seem to be in the prime of their lives, sending shockwaves through the world when each made a final, fatal decision.
Sometimes they just feel hopeless and they feel like they have no options.
Memorial Healthcare psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober says what stuns so many about middle-aged suicide is the lack of outward warning signs.
And this is often what we see when people kill themselves, but he seems so happy, everything seems so fine. But very often people will put on a mask, they play a role to go through their life and make people think that everything's okay, but they're really suffering inside.
Dr. Bober said seeing the warning signs means looking beyond some of the myths associated with suicide. Many people who think about taking their own life are actually ambivalent about the idea.
Meaning they're sort of hanging between life and death. Sometimes they think they want to kill themselves and sometimes they want to live. In fact, over 50% of the time, suicide is actually an impulsive act. It's not something that's planned out over days. And also, only half the time do people leave a note.
So what are loved ones to do? Keep an eye out for emotional changes. If the person is expressing a sense of hopelessness, anger, or sadness, have their eating or sleeping habits changed? Drinking alcohol or taking drugs may deepen their dark mood. For survivors, Dr. Bober says the hardest but most important thing to remember, it's not their fault.
When you take your own life, you are sending a shockwave through your family and your friends because they're the ones that have to be there after you're gone and deal with the tragedy.
Professionals in the field of suicide prevention are working toward a national goal to reduce suicides by 20% by the year 2025. In order to reach their goals, greater focus is being put on certain groups like men in their middle years in order for them to get help. In the video report, Nikki Mohan, Local 10 News.
And it is so important to erase the stigma of mental illness. We want to take this time to let you know that there is help out there. If you or someone you know is struggling right now, please call the National Suicide Hotline Prevention at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. There are people who care and who want to help. Please call.